Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Sure? No. A good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, live right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Sentinel Storage. We're live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. We're live on YouTube as well. You can get us wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast of all the EST shows. Wherever you get your podcast. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle with you on this lovely Wednesday. As I mentioned, the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider by Canadian. Right now, pick your deal. That was supposed to end yesterday. They're extending it till April 30th. Check them out, sentinel.ca. I saw Bells a couple days ago. It was lovely.
It was nice. It was a great interaction.
It was.
What is wrong with you guys?
It was. It was awesome.
Why is that? What's wrong with us?
I saw Bellsy a couple days ago. It was lovely. And he goes, it was. What a nice interaction.
It was legit.
I don't doubt that, but just the choice of words from both of you.
Because I think maybe partly is when we come on the Hangout.
We just like to chirp each other.
There's pokes and stuff. And
now this makes more sense.
I was coming into Roger's place. I was going to go to the security. Bellsy was waiting for his owner of the Silent Ice, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Oh, rolling with the big dogs.
I was, yeah.
Nice.
He was saying he was going on the seats for the first time in a long time.
Very long time.
But then we had a nice little quick
different.
chat, talking some hockey, talking some Oilers.
Yeah.
And then he saw the security stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
The new security
Just
stuff that they have not
way
set up
better.
for us media.
No, they have not.
And we also saw Rashad go through that spot, the regular media spot. And then I wished him a good night.
That was a very thorough breakdown.
It was actually quite nice.
It's nice when you guys run into each other. I was going to say, see, Dusty wore sweatpants the other day, last week, I think it was. This is a good activewear ensemble. This is what we're talking about. Like, how comfy are those pants right now?
Oh, these are my Lulus. They're nice.
And how comfy is this shirt?
Legit.
Yeah. And it looks very nice. All I'm saying is this is the activewear ensemble.
The only thing that goes against your thoughts, Tommy, because I'm fully with you on most of this, is Trey Ford.
Oh, Trey Ford was great.
Trey was saying that he's good with the sweats, and he was wearing the sweats. And if it's good enough for Trey...
Yeah, but Trey's not taking business meetings.
But I could take business meetings because you can dress up Lulus more if you want, and you can dress them down if you want. And
these are more of like just
they're the commission.
Trouser instead of the jogger.
Tommy doesn't have an issue with the Lulus.
No.
Tommy had an issue with the bench sweatpants that Dusty had
last week.
That were more
straight
old school sweatpants look is how I
like the old gray sweaties.
They were gray.
They were black.
They were black.
Oh, they were black. Sorry, I thought they were gray.
Yeah. Can't wear gray sweaties.
That's...
Anyway, this is a very nice example of what a activewear ensemble...
I like the shoelaces.
Looks like.
I like the way those ones are tied. Actually, when Brendan first got here for his practicum, he did Jay's shoes. Jay took his shoes off and like, can you retie these? Because he liked how Brendan did the shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like the way that I tie my shoes?
I like that.
The non-tie.
I like that look.
The non-tie?
Yep.
But Matty, you got to learn how to tie your shoes so that the flaps fall to the side and not on top. You know how you go over?
I don't know how to do
under.
that stuff.
You got to just go under and it works out perfectly.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tie my shoes today because the process, like trying to get out of the rink as fast as I possibly can so I can make it here on time now that we're not fully into our season, you can't tie your shoes.
Respect that.
Yeah. So here we go.
I'm almost out of shoe season anyways, for me personally.
You're ready for... I can't believe
I'm
you're wearing
getting
shorts
close
today.
to flip-flops. Why?
It's not warm today.
It was warm enough. It's going to be 9 degrees
but this
today.
is what people in Alberta do. The minute it's like +1, pants are gone, shorts are on.
Yeah.
I like when the temperature goes above 10.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but
today it's supposed to be 9, which is, there's a good chance it might get above 10.
Were they talking about snowstorms in Calgary again?
That's gross.
Did I see that?
We don't need that. It's coming here.
Oh, get lost. Bad weather.
There's at least one more snow coming.
Yeah.
Before including part of May Long.
Tough.
It is what happens.
May Long always ends up being crappy weather.
Friday it's 17.
Oh, okay.
Saturday 13, then it's like 11, 11, 13 right now going into next week.
Let's see what's happening in Calgary.
Things could kind of pick up. I should text Claus. I haven't texted Claus in a while. He texted the show a couple days ago, and I just mentioned it on the air.
Yeah, what's he doing with his life? Is he okay? Like
Josh Clausen?
Yeah,
he's loving live golf.
Is he excited about the Jets draft coming up?
That's a great question.
We should get him back.
I'll ask
here.
him. But he's all into live. He's our live insider. When we need to know a question about live,
he's a guy.
I know Josh Clausen's going to have the answer. Or if we're talking about in the Hangout, I don't even have to text him. He's just going to he'll text me.
He should come back on the show.
How are you feeling about the Jets' upcoming draft?
I want to get to a text.
Before you do that, I'm just going to make a prediction.
What?
It's going to be great. They got this. They're going to get this guy or this guy. Season's turnaround or their franchise turnaround. Great.
They're
great
the
season.
Jets. They're in perpetual.
He is a very optimistic Jets fan, and I will give Josh credit for that.
I'm going to give him credit for that too, because Jets fans can be very toxic.
He's always looking for the silver liner and the positivity.
They're always in the basement.
Great.
He's a very positive guy.
Yes.
Which is nice.
So
it's nice. And he's loyal, clearly.
Yeah, and Nick, same thing, right?
Last year he got upset with the Jets and he tweeted, "I'm done." And then I texted him like, "You still watching?" He's like, "Yeah, unfortunately."
He's texting, "I'm done," and then they had a touchdown. He's like, "I'm back."
No, for like weeks. He's, "I'm not watching any more games this season."
Oh.
And like 2 weeks later, it's like, "Did you follow through with that?" He's like, "No."
He's like, "No, I'm." Yeah.
That's you stick with your team, right? Like that's your.
But
team.
I understand not watching your team anymore. Like for the rest of the season, like Manchester United is trash. I can't find it in me. Like, especially because it's not on regular television.
Do you dabble,
I can't find it in me to go seek them out.
Right.
Because I know I'm just going to be angry or pissed off or hurt. Down. And it's just pain and suffering. And I'm not doing that to myself.
But are they rebuilding?
I don't know what they're doing.
In just a miserable spot because they made the wrong moves and
right now
nothing's
it's miserable.
working. Okay.
And it's been a long time, though, since they've been kind of good. It's like they get good, bad, like each year. But right now it's like this is worse than anything ever. Like they're closer to being relegated than being a champion of the league.
That's tough.
That is pretty bad.
And then they've spent a lot of money. It doesn't look good. So it's like one to go seek them out. Then it's just like, well, I'm going to watch it. And I'm not going to see anything exciting. I understand why, like sometimes if your team's terrible as fans, you sometimes just like, I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to see how they're playing. But I just can't go dedicate 90 minutes of my life right now to just be angry. I get angry about other things. I get angry about small things.
Yeah,
how do you feel like if this will never happen in North America, but if there was a relegation, how do you think fans in those particular cities would react to a team potentially being demoted? Like, for example, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They have an abysmal season one year and they got to go play the best team in the AHL. And there's a chance that Edmonton Oilers could become an AHL team. How do you think fans would react to situations like that?
It would force organization, like rebuilds. We wouldn't hear of rebuilds as much. The way that
you'd never hear about them.
And it would always like with it. It's like, how's the draft work and all that stuff. What would happen is Oiler fans would turn in their tickets, or they would expect a significant slashing of season tickets for the next year. And that's what forced the Oilers where, like back in the decade of darkness, it likely would have been like NHL, drop down the American Hockey League, get back promoted, drop down, get back to promoted. When they get promoted, though, if that was the case, it would have been like, you have to stay promoted. You can't drop down again.
Yeah.
Or you'll start losing fans and stuff. It would be a fascinating thing. It's the North American model is now too far in that I don't know.
Yeah, it'll never change.
There is a soccer league in the States, the one below MLS, USL.
Yeah, Oklahoma and Las Vegas have teams.
They're starting to look at adding. I think they are actually adding promotion relegation.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so I'll be intrigued. When does MLS go to it, and how do they react to that?
Yeah, the psyche of the North American fan. I don't know if they can handle it.
They couldn't handle soccer culture.
Because one of the teams I actually just played for in Europe, Dusseldorf, which should be arguably in the top 4 or 5 every single year. They've lost some big sponsors. I just met with a buddy yesterday, and he coached in Shawinigan a while ago. But they're being relegated. They have a building that's got 14,000 fans. When it's going, it's like one of the most electric places. They've had unbelievable teams, and it's kind of been just driven into the ground. And now they're relegated to Div 2. And so when I was talking with my buddy yesterday, he's like, that should never ever happen.
Ouch.
And like it's too good of a building and too good of a spot for you to be a second league team.
Okay. Well, because Dusseldorf's like a pretty good sized city, is it not?
Yeah.
They lose sponsors, so they can't pay for imports.
They can't.
Guys.
Yeah, they can't increase their budget. So like over there, if you're spending 7 to 8 million euro, you're one of the top programs.
So that's like 12 to 14
12 to 14 million
Canadian.
You obviously have to have your top national players. Like if you have the top national players, you're obviously better. But you got to go out and scout. You got to get the right players. And then there's obviously, you go through the season and make sure things are good. But when you're a big city team, there should be zero reason you should be in that conversation.
That would be like Mannheim. What other big city? Like
if Mannheim,
what Berlin teams, Thomas Sabo, Ice Tigers.
No, they're just Nuremberg. Tom Sabo picked up and left, but like Dusseldorf should never have been gone.
Right.
When I was over there, Hanover was an unbelievable city.
Cologne.
They lost their team. Cologne, they're always good. I think they have the biggest building. It's like 18,000. Berlin is obviously a good one. Hamburg was awesome. But the owner of the Kings, he owned obviously the LA Kings. He owned Berlin and he owned Hamburg.
That's an
Anschutz, yeah. And what he did is he went to Hamburg because they were a middling team. They're always 5, 6 in the league, and then they'd lose to a top dog. He just basically went over and said, "Kate, we're done." The city went out. They signed a petition. They had like 400,000 signatures. They're like, "We want you to sell this so we can keep this going." He's like, "No, I'm good."
So what did he do?
Shut it down.
No.
Yeah, he just shut it down.
Oh my
He's
God.
like, "I'm just going to go with Berlin." Like, oh, okay, well.
That sucks. That's kind of
funny.
not right.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's awful.
But they had like one of the best setups too. Like their rink, I think it was called O2 World, 15,000, unbelievable support.
Yeah.
Practice rink, literally across the parking lot.
Perfect.
It was a perfect setup.
What did you guys have in Mannheim?
We were 12 or 13.
Newer?
Yeah. It was a newer
practice rink?
Practice rink attached to it. So the Young Adler, that's where I met Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played right out of it. They kind of practiced right after us. Yeah, it was a cool spot.
Clausen says, haven't thought about the draft for a second, but I feel good, all caps, about making the playoffs this year. He also said he was doing something, so he wasn't even listening to us. So that was just, see, he feels good about the playoffs.
Can you invite him on the show? We haven't had him on here in a couple months.
I will say, back to, like, North America couldn't handle relegation and promotion because North America likes sports socialism.
Yep.
And European sports and the soccer model is very much sports capitalism. You have money, you're at the top. You don't, you get lower.
Which would work really well for it would work really well for the Oilers because they've got a lot of money.
In their current state, yes.
Yes. But oh my God, I would like.
Well, the reason there's a cap is because the Oilers couldn't spend.
That's right.
And the Flames couldn't spend, and that's why we got a cap in space to bring that parity into the league.
Yeah.
Now, if there was no cap, the Oilers would be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Oh man, it'd be awesome. Abutski, Wolfsburg is a tiny little city, but it's got tons of money. It's a weird spot, but it's where is it Volkswagen? That's where they have the factory.
Oh.
So it's right out of there, but it's just a weird city.
Is it a resort town?
No, definitely not. It'd be like a Fort Saskatchewan, but like dirty and just very, very like industrial.
And with a pro team.
With a pro team that just randomly like has a tiny building. They don't get like the top guys, but they just somehow, at least when I played there, they were consistently a top 3 team out of the blue. They're like They're the team that always overachieved. That's the best way to describe them.
How big was their building?
1,500 seats.
Come on.
Yeah.
So you have teams in the DEL playing in 18,000 seat arenas, and a team like that playing in a 1,500 seat arena.
Yep.
They're playing out of the Jubilee Rec Center.
100%. They're playing out of Bill Hunter.
Which is basically the same design as the Jubilee.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were like good, and they just had this game that it was 2-1, 1-0. They'd lock it down, and you're like, I don't understand why these guys are good.
That's messed up.
But they have a really good soccer team there too.
Something in the
It's
water.
actually it's one of the places actually in World War II that got bombed pretty bad.
Yeah.
So obviously when I went over there, I really dove into the history, and like that spot was, you know, they were producing tons of like tanks and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, then it would get bombed heavily.
heavily.
That makes a lot of sense, Shawn. A lot of sense.
That
Very
place
strategic.
got lit up.
I do have a great World War II history channel for you if you'd be interested.
I am.
It's called The History Underground. I'll show it to you. I'll send you the link later.
You wanted to read the text
yes,
that
there was a
I
text.
sidetracked.
Yes. This is a first-time texter. Welcome to EST and the text line, the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Text simply just says, hey guys, any chance for Kane and Frederick for game one? So there hasn't been an update in regard to like what we got from
Your long list tweet?
Yeah, from
that
Chris
ended up having to be
Knobloch.
2 tweets that I copied and pasted into a Word document and it filled the whole page.
Yeah.
That thing is
Oh my God, I'm
that was
sorry.
a novel. Do you remember like WCW back in the day when Chris Jericho was fighting Dean Malenko
And he had the-
little scroll?
Yeah.
And they
Well, we
went
got the scroll right out there.
they went to commercial break, and he was like, "Move number 1,000 arm bar." That's what that seemed like.
I felt like that.
I wish you
too.
told me that a few days ago because I would have pulled that out on the show. I'm like, Gager, let's read the list.
Oh,
Just
man.
the whole organization.
It was funny because after I finished it, I had forgotten about, was it Kane?
Yep.
And I had to, and then you're right, I had to add that one. And I sat there for a few minutes. I'm like, okay, that checked it again. And then I even like looked at Paige Martin and double checked and looked at someone else. I'm like, yes. Okay, send. I'm like, I read it again. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot so-and-so. Okay, quote, tweet, send. Even Chris Knobloch, after we interviewed him, I could see after we finished, he was like, you know, when you have that pensive thinking in your mind, look on your face, he was doing that. And I'm like, what is he thinking about right now? A, how thorough he was and if he hit on everybody, and B, if he made sure not to implicate anybody in any type of cap circumvention. I think that was part of it. Now, to answer this texter's question, no name on it. Yes, a chance for Kane. Frederick, the last we heard was maybe game 2. I guess outside chance for game 1, but your guess is as good as mine. And the reason why I also wanted to get to this text early on is, so the schedule, everyone keeps, when are they playing? We talked about it yesterday on this show. Sunday, and then last night I was told, depending on other series, maybe even Monday. If it's on Sunday, the Oilers will travel straight to LA. If the game is on Monday, they will return home for a day and then go back to LA.
Why?
I don't know, but that's the plan apparently.
Just stay. Gager, though, didn't like the idea of them flying out there.
Yeah, I was listening to
much.
you guys yesterday. I understand, but everybody packed for a 10-day trip when they left yesterday.
I just think, why take the extra flight?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, you settle in, you get it to the hotel, get into a groove.
This is just a reference point to the argument we had last week. We were talking about home ice. Home ice. And you're like, well, doesn't really matter. And I'm like, well, there's an extra flight involved there.
No.
And now you're saying it.
Well, no, because on this one, like, you're in San Jose. Why wouldn't you just head to LA and just stay there?
They might.
I just don't see, like,
I think
because in that
would be the
situation,
most
it's a little
appropriate
different.
situation.
And like, clearly, but the Oilers were on my side with this. They don't care about home ice. They didn't play some of their guys on Monday because they were willing to throw in the towel because they believed that they could go win no matter what. The Oilers were with me on that one.
What are you looking at?
Somebody texted in you holding the trophy from the Heavy Hockey Showdown. Trying to get it to you. I want to save it for you, but
Oh, thank you. Yeah, send that to me.
okay. You look very content.
Yeah, I was staring you right in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't happen to notice. I was not paying attention. I don't know why you would do that.
I don't know why either.
You should feel shame because of how easily you got tripped. That's all I want to say to you.
I just, what's the point of flying on a sink for, like, because it's also not like, I don't know, like you are dealing with, you could just do a short flight as opposed to a longer flight with a longer flight on top. That's why this one to me is a little bit different.
It's fair.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. The NHL should have, the Blue Jackets don't play tonight, do they? Or do they?
That's the last potential.
The Blue Jackets play tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Who's
the
getting it?
Habs, if they lose in regulation, it comes down to Blue Jackets tomorrow. I would like to think the NHL could release a schedule.
In a week? It'd be pretty nice.
Well, they could do it for today. They could even do it today and go, because we know that team is going against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could just say winner of or whoever's in between Montreal and Columbus will be in Washington on this day. And Washington play Montreal, Columbus. This is their schedule. Here's the rest of it.
TBD.
TBD.
You could even go TBD.
That works.
You could
And
even
then you could
shorten
have
it up.
all the times.
And we could have the entire playoffs kind of figure out. And even if you want just the first 2 games for every series.
That would be beautiful.
You know, and then we could just see where everything kind of is. And I'm assuming right now the NHL could have 2 schedules for that first round. What happens if it goes to Columbus? What happens if it goes to Montreal? I don't know how much the arenas would be that much different type thing. Did you guys see the French leadership debate is today for the Canadian political election? They moved the time up.
Because of the Habs?
Yeah.
Smart.
It was supposed to be 7 Eastern. They moved it to, I think, 5 Eastern or something. Or do I have my times off on there? I might have my times a little bit off.
Apologize for not keeping up on French
but
leadership debates.
And this isn't the first time,
it's an
apparently.
important one because
This isn't the first time it's happened that we've moved to leadership date, because there was a Habs playoff game one year and they moved to leadership.
Smart.
Yeah. No, it's an important debate because this was something that was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, and then it got ducked.
No, that was a secondary debate.
That was a secondary?
That's a second debate that wasn't. This is from the official debate commission of the Canadian politics.
Yeah.
It was today and tomorrow, English, French.
Okay.
We have
French,
one of those
English.
commissions?
Yeah. I think it's all the media, just conglomerates are together in the newspaper.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that was always there. And then there was one TV network in France, or not in France, in Quebec.
Yeah.
France.
That sometimes had a second one. And they, Carney didn't want to get involved with that one. And so that one didn't happen. But this is the main 2 debates of the Canadian elections. There's always the 2 debates.
Yeah.
French and English. These are the 2. But they moved it up, which sucks for the Western Canadian French speaking people, because it's like, I think 4 o'clock or time or something like that. So it's like going to be a lot harder to watch. But you can watch it here. But it's very Canadian.
It's very Habs.
Right? It's very like we got a major hockey game going on. We've got a very critical political, federal election that we're going on. We got to move that leadership debate up because you want to know something.
The Habs are playing.
The Habs are playing.
Yeah.
It's a big game. And they're in top. I mean, they get Carolina. Columbus gets the Islanders tomorrow. So
Oh boy.
It's not going to be easy.
No.
But they're playing well.
Dusty in the nasty chat. Oilers Kings Sunday, Wednesday. Heard that from somebody relatively in the know this morning, which is also what you kind of.
I literally have been saying that for the last week.
Yeah, you did lay that one out yesterday at the very least.
Jesus, it's unbelievable sometimes. Anyway, vent over.
Oh, he's getting to complain. Oh, Dusty's getting mad.
Did I not just say they might play Monday?
Yeah.
Well, they're not playing. They're playing Sunday, Wednesday.
Well, he's
No.
saying it's Sunday, Wednesday, but he's heard
We got an update yesterday.
potentially if there's a Monday. There's a Monday.
I heard Leafs sends.
Perfect.
Leafs sends Oilers Kings doubleheader Sunday is what Dusty said.
But
on
as-
Easter
Hey,
Sunday.
like, how's that for Sunday?
That's a great Sunday.
Look, I'll
Great
just put it to
Sunday
you
game.
this way. I had
Could go
somebody
Monday, Wednesday, I guess.
I had somebody call me last night who is literally with the team right now saying we might come home if the league decides to put game 1 on Monday.
Was it Connor?
It was Connor.
Obviously,
Are you okay, buddy?
No, I'm not.
You're
We're like,
a little
what the-
tense.
Somebody that you know
You're a little
today,
tense. You're a little
probably Sunday,
tense.
Wednesday.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. But
Yeah.
there's a chance for one. All I'm
How's it
saying,
not announced already?
exactly.
I don't know why they ended-
Unless
Yeah.
it's set.
Well, yeah.
You can't tell me they haven't had 9 schedules laid out for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'm wondering if they're waiting because the NBA hasn't announced their schedule.
Stop catering. Like, I love the NBA.
But it's not just that. Like, okay, when did the Lakers play their second game?
Not
Is it
Sunday.
Monday or Tuesday?
Not Sunday. So
Right, but if
Sunday,
it's Tuesday, you could do Monday. If it's Monday, you then or that's how it would have to play out. Like it's just I don't know how many.
I think it's Sunday.
I
I'm
don't
just
know how
telling you
many-
what I was said last night from someone who was there with the team.
Adam's saying Lakers have a home game Tuesday,
that's why it would.
and I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't know if the NBA's released the new schedule because they only did
I
game
just saw
once.
the Lakers are playing Sunday.
Well, but then that's why it's like okay. Well, that's why it would go to Wednesday
Yes.
because they can't. If it's Tuesday, they can't play on
you know,
Tuesday.
2 days between games and like that's for a team that's healthier than we think.
Well,
That's actually
mean,
not the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
I'm gonna make this
Dusty.
Hangout headlines before you
Again,
continue
LeBron
there.
helping the Oilers.
Hangout headlines brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. From premier golf facilities to the corporate branded products, the Ranch is your
Yeah,
all-in-one
actually,
tournament host. Proud host to over 180 tournaments every year, including the EST Golf Classic. They're here to help you execute all your golf tournament ideas. Book your tournament today. Visit theranchgolf.com. Dusty was there yesterday, raved about it. It was opening day. What do you guys? The Avs have finished their regular season on Saturday.
they're done already, right?
Isn't that something else? Would you like that?
If you're hurt, yes.
Yeah. If you're hurt, yes.
Are the Avs hurt outside the Landeskog?
I think it's crucial to get just a little bit of rest, get some practice time.
Wouldn't you want to end them maybe on a Monday or Tuesday?
Meh,
Like if you're not
it
playing
doesn't
for
really
a
make
week
that
before the
big of a
playoffs?
difference.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because what you're going to do is, okay, so you finish on Saturday, you probably give them Sunday, Monday off. You're back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, they're going to play Saturday, I'm assuming.
I'm guessing because when I was looking at the teams that play on Thursday, every series that would happen in the East has a team playing on Thursday. Every series, like there's a couple series in the West, so I don't know how they're going to play it out. But Dallas and Colorado are one of those series where teams don't play on Thursday.
So they could be Friday then.
Well, they could be Thursday or Saturday. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Saturday.
So if
And
they
it's gonna
play
start
on Saturday,
starting Saturday.
then you have Tuesday to Friday to prepare. It's perfect. You have some harder practices, Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit more intense. Thursday, Friday, slow it down a little bit. Be ready to go.
Okay.
Guys have that a little bit extra time to get, rest, rejuvenated before you go to war, because that's going to be a hell of a series. So it's good.
Okay. I found it weird, and I didn't know if a team would like it or not.
Teams don't
Because-
care for the I finish my season on Tuesday and then we play Thursday. They don't like
You want a little bit of a
you
break.
want a little bit of a break just to be able to prepare properly, to get that extra rest that you need, because you're going from the regular season, and for some teams in the regular season, you're going to be golfing next week. For some teams in the regular season, you're gearing up for battle. And then there's some of those teams that are in between where it's like, well, I might be able to make the playoffs, I might not. And so you kind of have 3 different stages of it. But if you're one of those teams going to the playoffs, you know that you need to prepare and you got to raise your level. So getting that extra rest is important.
Last night, the NBA released their schedule, which is big because now I could look at the LA schedule. The Lakers are home Saturday, Tuesday. So it will be Wednesday.
Yeah.
For the Oilers. That is, unless they're moving it to Thursday,
I
it's
get
going to be
so
Tuesday.
annoyed when somebody I know. It's like, I'm telling you. Anyway.
Maybe he's talking about you.
No, it wasn't me.
Sunday, Monday.
Clearly, they weren't listening.
But then you would go Wednesday, Friday, I'm assuming, Sunday potentially, because Saturday there's Bush in Edmonton. So that day's out. The Lakers are back home on Wednesday the 30th, and then Sunday the 4th, because they go Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So they're spread out a little bit more.
Is anybody be watching that team?
Lakers?
Just kidding, Maddie.
No, I was asking if that's what you were talking about there.
Yeah,
Because
the
we will talk some basketball and how the Lakers are big favorites right now.
Oh,
In there.
get out of here.
Outside of OKC.
Udonis Haslam? Haslam, yeah. He has some different conversation to that.
So they play Saturday, Tuesday, then they would be home on the 30th. So then if the Oilers did Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, they could play on the Tuesday in LA. Back here on the Thursday for a game 6. And then they could play on the Saturday the 3rd for game 7. So that's going to be my prediction for the series. They'll go Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday. No, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Sorry, I'm just getting over my rage.
That's okay.
That's okay, buddy.
That's okay. Oh, you sent me something, Shawn.
I did.
I have a text for you.
I'll get
for
on this
Belsey
after.
specifically that came in.
Okay.
May I?
Oh, also, like, I'm not going to lie. We're not going to talk much about the actual Oilers-Sharks game today. I don't know if anyone's actually interested. Doesn't matter. You could do it on the GCLT's Oil Stream pregame show.
Which starts
You guys got Oil Stream. Gager and I will do a little bit maybe on EST afternoons. Reed and Jay will have you covered. We'll just look ahead to the NHL playoffs as well as talk NBA here.
There's a big game tonight, okay?
Unless, Shawn, you want to break down the Sharks.
I don't.
Kate.
There's no point.
Just making sure
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
taking
but
away
what
from you
about
guys.
tonight, you guys? Coach Mike texted it. Says, does Belsey have a take on the B team / injury comments from Dano and the Kings? Sort of a defeated comment.
Yeah, I do.
Are the Oilers already in LA's mind? Coach Mike, go ahead.
If you
Belsey.
don't like it, stop it.
Like, if you're the Kings.
If you're the Kings.
Right, okay.
If you don't like it, that you felt like they were, taking some shots at you, then make them stop it.
Impose your will physically.
Impose
on
your
them.
will physically.
Yeah.
So it's like, you look at was a game meaningless or not? Well, you can argue whether it
One
was or
team
not.
is meaningful, one team it wasn't, based on the roster they fielded.
Okay, well, that game was for home ice, in my opinion.
Yes.
So whether one team decided to dress the roster or not, if you're the Kings, why wouldn't you have gone in there and just try to beat them up physically?
Because they don't. I agree with the premise of that, but the answer I think is the Kings, although bigger, don't have the muscle and the meat to go do that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Still.
But do the Oilers, based on that lineup that they had, you had Brown, you had Nurse, and you had
Max Jones.
Max Jones, but does he really?
Yeah, he mucked it up a little bit.
He
the other
does,
night.
and
Yeah.
Perry.
And Perry, yeah. For sure.
But you had your top team in, so you couldn't just turn that into a playoff style atmosphere and just take some runs at guys. Like, you don't think that maybe you should just go take some runs at Nurse?
No, you shouldn't.
Of course not. Because why would you? No, you should 100% take some runs at Nurse.
But I don't think you should, because I don't think you want to play in that game if you're the LA Kings, because you don't want any sort of injury going into the playoffs.
Yeah, but they
You
just
just wanna
got,
get rid of that
got
game.
beat up physically. And so, right now, Byfield didn't come back.
That's because they were playing it up.
I think they were playing.
Well, I'm
dark
sure
arts,
they
yeah.
were
They're
too.
playing
But,
up for
but my
suspension.
point is that whether you get suspended or not, to me, it's a meaningful game in the sense that you want home ice. You're the Kings, you win 5-0, you're trying to get out of there, but you don't go on public TV and be like, well, they're dressing their B team and, they're trying to hurt us. Okay. If that's how you feel, then why don't you take a run at somebody? Because
But he also wasn't wrong in anything he was saying. He was asked the question. He was
go
answering.
take a run at somebody because that's such
the B team. They were a B team. We all
such
know it.
bush league.
But secondly, it's
what it is.
We also we were talking about it the day of. We had people texting in on the afternoon show. We're like, hey, Josh Brown's in the lineup. He should go take a run at Kemper. If they're
Yeah,
Kings
he
are going to
should've.
play this, and this is who the Oilers should be. But that's what. So everyone knew that that's what was happening. So I also have no problem with Philip Deneau just saying, yeah, this is what's happening tonight. They're a B team that are taking shots at us. Okay. Now, I think you don't worry about the battle that is that game. If you're the LA Kings, you're worrying about the war that is coming up starting on
the problem I have
possibly
with that,
Monday, but likely
Sunday,
according to somebody Dusty was talking.
But the problem I have with it is that
Tommy's been on that all week.
You look at that series over the course of whatever amount of time. Don't act like you guys haven't tried to take heavy shots at the other players. I actually specifically remember Mikey Anderson horse-collaring Leon Draisaitl from behind, giving him an ankle injury.
Yeah.
I've seen hits from behind. So don't now, because this is the B team, play that, oh, we just want to get out of the game. Like, blank you.
I don't think he was doing that. I think he was just saying. I don't think
he kind of was.
He was just saying this is what's happening.
It was a bit whiny.
It was so
Sure,
whiny.
okay.
And it's like,
And you want to know when Mike Anderson did his thing, it was whiny from Edmonton.
Yeah, but guess what Edmonton has done since then?
They've won.
They've gone out, they've won, and they've actually physically beat up the Kings.
But that's where
they take heavy runs at the Kings players.
If I'm in that Kings locker room and I'm going to speak from a Kings perspective on this, it would be I don't care about fighting back in that one game. Because that's what the Oilers want out of us. The Oilers want that. Then we're playing into the Oilers game and that they want us to start doing that so that they could all get a little more physical and they could get it even more into the quote unquote our kitchen or something like that. If I'm the LA Kings, I'm looking at that and going, we got to get ready for game one. We're not focused on this B team. We need to focus on the A team that is coming in game one. And we're not doing this tonight. And it's the reverse is like the Calgary Flames were that team against the Edmonton Oilers. They always wanted to play that way with the Oilers. They were trying to goad the Oilers into that. And the Oilers got into that. Right, but they got into that in the regular season. The Flames always had their number. Then the playoffs came game one. The Flames got into the Oilers' minds. They lost that game, the Edmonton Oilers. And the Oilers realized the rest of the series, we can't play that game. We got to just focus on our game and we'll beat them. And they'll just start taking penalties. And then the Oilers ran away with that series. I think that's the Kings mindset here. We're not playing the Oilers game, B squad game on this Monday. This isn't a battle we need to go win. And we're going to go do it on game one. That's why I say I don't think that they needed to then go do something physically.
I thought you could have been so calculated with it because you have a game against the Oilers who you're going to play in the playoffs. Their current best players out of the lineup, but there's other players on that.
Three best players.
There's other players on that team that are very impactful, a la Darnell Nurse. So my game plan would have been, okay, you want to start doing that? That's fine. We're just going to run you this entire game because what you do is a drop in the bucket for tomorrow. And if you can make him hurt going into the playoffs, then that's a leg up for you.
But so then the Oilers start doing more, and then maybe there is that run into Darcy Kemper, and then you're out
style NHL, and you don't have to ever worry about the retribution aspect of it. I'm not even talking about fighting. I'm just saying creating a game in which you're being very calculated from the Kings' perspective. Who are the players that you would say in that lineup against that game would be factors for the Oilers? Bouchard. You're hoping that he can raise his game. He's a factor from an offensive perspective. Darnell Nurse logs big minutes, and we've all seen when Darnell Nurse isn't in the lineup, there's a massive hole there. You already have Ekholm out. So, yeah, I'm going to go after Bouchard, and I'm going to go after Nurse, and I'm going to make their life miserable because that could potentially help you down the road. So I do think that the Kings should have played that game. But then, especially after getting cross-checked in the head.
I think when the score is what it is and you're the LA Kings, you could do that. You could try doing that. But then you get a little more into the muckiness, and then maybe one of your players gets a little banged up because the Oilers add a little bit more of that. And then because the Oilers are trying to do that too. And then you're going to the playoffs down a couple of guys, and you just want to get out of that as healthy as possible. And getting into those things doesn't help you to get out of that as healthy as possible.
But there's a game within a game.
Sure. And the other part to this is the LA Kings, they need any sort of motivation they can for a series against the Edmonton Oilers. This is their motivation. That could be part of this too, where they're going to hold on to this. And maybe that's why the whininess came. Look at what they did to us. It was their moment of, okay, that's going to be our bulletin board thing because we can't beat this team. We haven't done it in 3 years. We need something to give us we've got this team. And maybe this is the motivation. Look, they're scared of us. They're running us with their B team. Let's go take care of business in game one.
I understand that rationale. I think it's like, if they were to take that mindset, I'd be like, that's stupid. Good luck, because you're just getting mad at the B team. Now all the really good guys are going to come in and just mop the floor with you, and you're worried about what happened at a meaningless game.
But now, and that might also be the thing, though, is okay,
if they were to take that idea.
Their flip side is, why would we bother with the K? I know that there's Nurse, there's Bouchard, there's Kulak, there's Nuge. That's kind of like the big key factors.
But the other piece to it is to take care of your own. Like if Nurse is going to do that, okay, he does it. And Byfield, whether they're playing it up or not, okay, Nurse is out of the game. Byfield's now out of the game. Okay, well, I'm sorry, guys, but we got to take care of our own. So Bouchard, you're just going to feel this for the rest of the game. So you don't have to go fight Max Jones. You don't have to go fight Corey Perry, because guess what? In the NHL now, you don't have to do that stuff. So why not take a run at Bouchard? Why not take 10 runs at Bouchard?
And they didn't.
They didn't do any of that.
Because also they might just be disrespectful to Bouchard here and say he doesn't matter. Look at his season. He's not a factor to us.
Yeah, but like,
we don't care.
Whether we agree with that or not is one conversation. But the reality of the situation is Bouchard is their best offensive defenseman. That is something we cannot argue across the board.
No.
So,
but a guy was how many power play goals this year?
What did he finish with? 60 points?
Yeah.
Right, but that's my thing is I could see maybe the LA Kings going, it's not worth our time. He's not worth our time this season in that. Let's just get out of this being healthy.
If the Kings are saying that, then they are crazy.
And it might be also then that with the nose comment, this is a B team. It's not worth our time to get in this with the B team. The A team's coming.
Yeah,
we'll go take care of business against the A team. It's that one mentality that some people have is that if somebody comes after your star player, you don't go after the guy who came after your star player. You go after their star player.
100%.
Well, the Oilers didn't have their main star players in that.
No,
that
but
they're going to wait till game one
in the
to
lineup.
go do that with Connor and Leon and Hyman and do it then. And that's where I could see maybe that's where the LA Kings were taking with that. That's why Danault's comments, maybe they were whiny. I have zero problem with them because that's what we're all saying going into the game. And the comments don't change anything.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's bulletin board material even for the Edmonton Oilers because the Edmonton Oilers aren't going to sit there and go we played a B team. It's yeah, well, you did.
You did. Corey Perry's response kind of summed it up.
He basically called him a BI.
Yeah.
So it actually made them just look weak.
Sure.
Corey Perry's
like, are you kidding me?
This, what the F? What did you think? Look at our roster. Okay, this text comes. We got a few texts that have come in. This is great. The only issue I have with Iwanyk's take, and listen, that's a theory that Iwanyk is throwing out there on the Kings, is that you're essentially playing that game scared then. I agree with that. Too scared to play aggressive because of an injury. Odds are you're not getting hurt when you're the hammer, but being the nail gets you.
I will flip this the other way then. The Oilers are too scared to play their star players right now. They're playing scared in a sense, getting ready for the playoffs. Why isn't Connor McDavid in that game?
Well,
why aren't
the coach
these guys
said they're resting him?
Well, Connor says this team is healthy. Why aren't those guys playing right now? The Oilers have been playing scared then is the flip side I could go this over the last month. That they're not playing these guys because they're trying to get ready for the playoffs because they're worried about the players being hurt. So who's actually more scared? The Kings at least played their guys in a game and then played scared, quote unquote, scared of not wanting to get hurt in this. The Oilers didn't even play their guys. So if that's the mentality, that I would argue then the Oilers are actually more scared.
I like where you went with that as far as from a devil's advocate side. Now, the Oilers players were pretty banged up to the point they need that rest. So from that perspective, I think
but Connor just played a couple games.
I know, but where you were going with it, I was good with. But then it was just that little bit extra. I was like, but I'll just bring this back just slightly, Matty.
Well, I'll just just right out there, Connor. Why didn't Connor play in that game? Connor played in the games prior, but he looked fine. Before. He's been playing well. I think Reed and Dusty, when we were talking earlier, said he's looked better, as best as he had all season. So why didn't he play in that game?
No,
well, the coach literally said they were resting.
Yeah. Well, and that's so that if you're going to say the LA Kings then are playing scared, then I could I'd make the argument then the Oilers are playing a little bit more scared.
That's
why I won't use that.
Yeah.
So the Kings are being scared because I don't think that they're scared. And I don't think the Oilers are scared. Well, I won't use that because the Oilers aren't scared. Different. They're just trying to get playoff healthy. And now for the LA Kings, I think they're also just trying to get playoff healthy. They're just doing it a different way within a game.
Yeah, they're literally playing the game scared, whereas the Oilers have a scared mentality. Yeah,
they're just saying we want to make
those
sure
guys they went around the playground and they put bubble wrap around everything so the Oilers don't get hurt.
With foam padding as well.
Yeah.
But
put
in
knee
that
pads
game,
on the Oilers and put helmets on, wrist guards.
In that particular game, you look at the lineup and you say, well, they're just trying to hurt us. But the reality is the Oilers have never just tried to hurt somebody. And that little cross check from Darnell Nurse, whether we want to say it's egregious or we want to say it was vicious.
A bad act. It wasn't vicious.
No.
It was dumb.
It was dumb.
He could have put a lot more force into
100%.
that. Then it's really bad.
But he did it on purpose. And it was a calculated shot by Darnell Nurse to say, we're playing you guys in the playoffs. This is it's going to be war.
Yeah.
And so that was the mentality. And that's kind of where I'm going back to the Kings side. The mentality from the Oilers players, which was Darnell Nurse carried the mail with that. It wasn't a B team guy. It was an A team guy. He was the guy that was a physical force and he was imposing his will to the point where nobody wanted to touch him.
Well, but then the game within the game of that is we don't need to go after Bouchard. We're going to try to make Byfield look like he's really hurt to get Nurse suspended for game 1.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. But now all of a sudden,
which is the right decision from the NHL.
Now all of a sudden,
you might get
but now when you look at it, you're like, okay, well, man, you guys are softer than a soup sandwich because you guys refused to play that game. You guys didn't want to do that, and you went on TV and said they're trying to hurt us. Like, that's what it sounded like.
He literally did say they're
trying to hurt us.
Sure, but
like, are you kidding me?
That's a different. It doesn't mean that they weren't willing to, and I don't think it's as much as they were
Say that
scared.
behind closed doors. I think they're trying to hurt us, boys, in the dressing room. Maybe we should do something. Keep your head up. Protect yourself. But you don't go on national TV.
It's not national.
They're trying to hurt us.
Kings Regional, he did.
Kings Regional is now national.
No one's watching
it's on Twitter. They're trying to hurt us.
I don't even know. No one else was. No one was watching that.
Like, aw.
Not many people were watching.
Aw, do you want a pat on the back?
Although I will give this credit for the LA market. Last little bit, I've seen just rankings of the top stars. Kopitar is usually in that list.
In LA?
Yeah.
Whenever the Kings do matter.
Well,
yeah,
they
matter.
But it's like they're also easy. I would just
don't.
assume that they're easy to forget, and but Kopitar is a name that actually resonates in the city of LA.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed by that one.
He's a big
Blake,
deal. But even the
those guys
current
still
players,
have-
because you got LeBron, you got Doncic, you've got Ohtani, you got Betts, you've got Justin Herbert if you want to go there. You got Nakua, you got other stars in the bigger leagues.
Yeah.
And they still recognize Kopitar.
He's been great.
I like that.
The NHL actually just came out with their player polls. Did you see that?
I was listening to the guys talk
NHLPA.
about it. I didn't dive in.
So they had the best forward. Connor won that by landslide.
Yeah, I could pull it up.
McKinnon was on that list. Kucherov was on that list. And then Crosby was on that list. Then he had...
Which one are you talking about?
There was a player poll. I tried to find it, but...
I have it.
Best forward. And then you had most complete player, Sidney Crosby and Barkov.
Crosby, 30,
leaders.
just shy of 34%. Barkov, just
I
shy of
respect
31%. Then McKinnon, McDavid, Matthews, Kopitar.
Yeah. It was an interesting list.
You know which one stood out to me? Well, there's
most complete players stood out to me because of the fact that Barkov jumps to the level of most complete player.
He's been there on this list for a few years.
But he's not in the best forward conversation. Because of Connor's overwhelming
offense
support.
The one that stood out to me was actually best overall goalie. Vasilevsky took number 1 at 31%. Then it goes Shesterkin at 23.5%. Then it's Hellebuck at 15.5.
That is.
I thought Hellebuck wasn't going to be at least the higher on that list.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not higher than Shesterkin.
Are you surprised Kemper's not on that list based on the season he's had?
No, because I think there's also
backup until he got to Colorado.
Soros is on this list. I think
but
there's a reputation.
Obviously a very recency bias type situation because it's based off the season.
I think it's also history.
Yeah.
Because Vasilevsky, he's having a great season too. I don't want to take anything away from him, but he's also got the rings. I think that's what propels him to number 1 on this list.
But do you think NHL players are thinking about that when they're voting?
Did you have this when you were in the league?
I wasn't in the league long enough to do it.
So I know, because I was just curious because I was wondering how did you do it?
We've had player polls like that, but it's
because their
usually
website, the last time they have it, you could go back with 17-18. So I don't know how they would be thinking of it. I also think there's sometimes just reputation type things,
which could be,
and that's why I don't think Kemper would get on that list. Kemper's having a great season, but I don't think you would call him one of the best overall goalies in hockey.
Yeah,
he'll probably be a Vezina finalist this year.
Yep.
But again, I don't think one of the best overall goalies if you're looking across the league.
Yeah. Maddie, you're getting some love from Shawn for the Uno reverse suck it texter. Shawn adds. Bad Andy says Maddie was being argumentative for poop's sake. Oilers are playing the long game, resting for the 4th round. Kings are worried about the 1st round. Kings hiding Byfield is a blank move.
No. I sure it could be. It's one you should do. If roles were reversed, I would want the Oilers to do the exact same thing. If you could, and this is to your point of what the Kings should have done. If you could take a player out of a game, you're going to try to do that. And when the games don't matter for the rest of the season for the LA Kings, why wouldn't you do that?
It's a game within the game.
That's the thing. If the game mattered yesterday for the LA Kings against the Seattle Kraken, then it becomes an interesting situation whether he'd play or not in that.
See,
but it didn't. So he's going to be rested anyways to a degree. So who cares?
So that game, and it didn't matter. But the game that was Edmonton versus LA, that game mattered.
And that's why you don't play Byfield.
But it mattered because of the home ice. But it also matters because that is also your opponent for the first round of the Stanley Cup. And based off of that particular game and history of what have the Oilers done to me, there was some opportunities there. There was spots in the game.
Well, no, but we're talking about the Byfield stuff there, right?
Yeah. But my point is
the
that
Byfield, and that's why you do that if you're the LA Kings, is because it's everything worked against the Oilers. Like this is, if the LA Kings were taking on someone else, you wouldn't do this. If the game mattered against the Kraken, they wouldn't do this with Byfield. It's the fact that your next game that's going to matter is going to be game one of his playoffs, and it's against the Edmonton Oilers, and you have a potential chance of taking one of their players out of the lineup. You're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that should be the reverse. If it was the other way around, if Drew Doughty did that to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the game instead, you're keeping Nuge out tonight, and you're saying he's day-to-day. He's hurt. We don't know. He's questionable for game one. You play that game because if you could take someone out of the lineup, you do that, which is what you were arguing as well. The Kings should have done or tried to maybe do against the Edmonton Oilers. That's why I don't think that's a chicken bleep move by the LA Kings. That's gamesmanship to me. And it should be done. It would have been done the other way as well. If it happened in reverse, Oilers would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't mind Byfield going out of the game, but my point to it is like, well, Nurse just took a 5-minute major on you. And there was times in that game where the intensity flickered.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it was sustained. It flickered. And there was lots of hits and lots of guys were running around. And then it died off very quickly. But I was like, okay, as soon as that 5-minute major happens, in my head, I'm like, okay, let's see how this plays out. And, they score, they do, it's 5-0. I get it. And they're trying to get out of the game. But there's still something about that competitive nature of what the NHL is. Mm-hmm. We are playing you in the playoffs. And for as long as I played, there was always we need to make sure we send a message. That's the team that we're playing. Let's make sure we're doing something so that they know that when we play them in the playoffs, it's going to be hard. And so, in my opinion, Darnell did that.
Yeah.
He was carrying the mail when it came to that particular comment. On the flip side, when I look at the Kings, okay, well, you had lots of opportunities to take heavy runs at Bush. Bush doesn't like that game. And if you do those things in a particular game, because now the toughest guy on the ice is now gone, well, you have free reign to do what you need to do to just even plant a small seed of doubt to be like, man, do I really want to engage in this over the next 7 games?
But you also have the other side where it's the Oilers don't care. They have some guys that really don't care, and they might then take a step even further because you started that. Josh Brown stepping up and doing something worse.
You don't
and
have to fight him.
Well, no, but he could do so. He doesn't have to fight. He can do something else. He could go take a run at your guys. And that's where it's, again, I think the LA Kings looked at that third period because that was the big period then for this, and chose to be ready for the playoffs as opposed to engaging. Just like the Oilers are looking to be ready for the playoffs by not playing players, I look at the LA Kings were getting ready for the playoffs by not choosing to engage in that third period. And that's why Darcy Kemper got pulled in the third period as well. I don't think that's right. And if you want to look at that as being a little scared, okay, fine. I think the LA Kings are okay with that. I don't think they're worried about that. But they want to be ready. And I agree with that one text that you read.
Yeah.
The LA Kings are trying to get ready for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, they are.
The Edmonton Oilers are trying to get ready for the playoffs. The Kings, I agree with that. I'll stand. The LA Kings are not looking at the Vegas Golden Knights. They're not looking at any. They've built and they're focused, and because of the rivalry of this series, they're focused on just being the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers are focused on a Stanley Cup. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep.
Speaking of the little skirmishes and the flickering of it, did anyone else find it odd that it was Matthias Janmark and Warren Foegele finding each other numerous times and really getting after each other.
Scrum?
Yeah, I thought to myself, I'm like, what happened between these two
Foegele
guys?
had that. I hate this team.
Yeah, that's what happened. Did you? I also noticed the one.
I thought that was
laughing.
AI for a second.
I was laughing about the one. It might have been.
But it's not. No, it was
Is
a
it
legit.
legit?
I saw it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, this must be some sort of AI thing someone created. And that's why I didn't want to ever bring it up. And then people have been bringing it up last week. So I'm like, oh no, this is real.
The other one that I thought was hilarious was Arvidsson and Foegele
Oh yeah,
getting tied up.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Janmark that kept coming to Arvidsson's aid, but then Foegele kept like circling behind one of the players, and it was just like they were kind of spinning back and forth. And I'm watching, I'm like, what is going on right now? But then he'd keep trying to go back at Arvidsson, but he wouldn't engage. It was very odd.
it was.
It was very odd.
I found that funny. I have a long text I want to read. Is that okay?
Before you do that, portions of this hour of the EST Hangout, they are brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Stock, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out at highproductmarketing.com. Chelsea gave me a few things to look at for the golf tournament. Ooh.
Something new?
Well, it's not. We had head covers hats last year. That's not happening this year. I want to keep doing new things for a few years.
I like that.
There's a few things I wanted. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it. Now I'm like trying to figure out which one of the things I wanted to do. Like she crushed it. So I look forward to doing that. So the people that are in the EST Golf Classic, it should be nice little things. We're sold out right now. I'm on a wait list. By the end of this month, I think all the groups will be fully done. I won't have anything as we go into May. He's Shawn Belle, Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk with you here in the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. You may take over.
Oh yeah, Pegs is coming back in for it.
I know.
Yeah.
He's pretty pumped up.
Yeah, you've been talking to him for a while. Okay, Looney Len texting in. It's for Belsey as well. I saw Shawn Belle after the game, a very happy, joyful guy. He generally is. I didn't want to interrupt him, but as a nasty, give him a sign of recognition. My apologies to him. I think I made it in an awkward exchange, and I didn't mean to. I couldn't be nicer about it. I said we should have a secret hand signal or something, and it was noisy, but I believe he said it works. Nothing better than bumping it to an EST celebrity in the wild, and they're amazing. What happened?
No, it wasn't an awkward exchange. I saw him. We looked at each other. He kind of gave me a head nod. I kind of gave him a head nod. And then as he was waving, he kind of gave like the, one of those. And I was like, and then he was like, we nasty should have something. But it like clued into my head. I'm like,
I see.
Because when we had that exchange, the first exchange, I was like, oh, this guy, like, he probably listens to the radio and he's, and then as he was going by, he was like, we should have like a hand signal. I'm like, I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, it wasn't awkward at all.
Well, Looney Len is saying that. I didn't. That's nice that he got to meet you.
He should have stopped and said hi.
Yeah.
But he was very courteous and gave the flyby.
Actually, there was a lot of hellos at the game the other night, especially leaving. I ran into this old guy named Craig. I think last name McTavish, and he asked for my picture, and I said only if I can get one with you. I'm just kidding. It was good to see a lot of people. I ran into Richie as well, and I met his wife, Modern, and my old buddy Cody Leclerc as well. There was so many people just like leaving in disgust, including Mac T.
I did meet a guy the other day. We went and checked out one of the Stollery homes, the Mighty Stollery homes. Just went and checked it out. And as I was leaving, this guy was like staring at me, and I was like, "Hey, man." He's like, "Do I know you?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You know Tom Gazzola, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh yeah, you're Shawn Belle." I'm like, "Yeah, hey." And he's like, "I skate with Tom on that Friday skate."
Oh.
He's like, "I've skated with him quite a bit, and just want to say hi."
There's a bunch of guys. Yeah.
Sweet.
Did he say his name?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps.
When you go to the next Friday skate, who's the one that talked to Belsey?
It's not till October, but that's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of yeah. I might not have been listening because my daughter might have been trying to lick my face, but I definitely
stop that, Evie.
Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. I love that. Anyway.
Max Bezozu, I think the nasty single to each other is just saying, "I know who you are," but said in the bookbinder voice from the Redemption Show.
I don't know how he does that voice.
Reed's got a great one when it comes to that. The Reed and Jay show coming up. Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne coming up 3 o'clock here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Today at 1 o'clock, it is EST Afternoons. Myself and Gager for 2 more shows till Hernand's back on Monday. We've got Oil Stream and Log Shop live from BP's Clareview.
Going back to back to the north side today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the GCLT's Oil Stream pregame show 7:30 tonight.
Yes.
As Tommy and Zach will get you set for the game, but also look ahead to the
Old
playoffs. Get you
Cubbish,
set for
eh?
the playoffs as well, post-game show as well as the
Old
Oilers
Cubbish.
and their 82-game second preseason as we head to the real season on Sunday.
Yep.
We can call it that now.
I'll just go with Sunday.
I'm very excited for the playoffs. There's great matchups.
There's a lot of good ones. Battle of Ontario, Oilers Kings Part 4, Tampa, Florida.
Yep.
The Mikko Rantanen battle, him with the
Rantanen
Stars,
Bowl.
the Rantanen Bowl. What other one?
This is storylines
I
galore.
do like Montreal, Washington too, because you got a team that has absolutely nothing to lose in the Montreal Canadiens that are just going to be and that's if they make it. Actually, I'll be the same. Even if Columbus is
fan
there,
base is going to go bananas.
both of them, whoever's in Montreal or Columbus, it's gravy. Like, it doesn't matter. If they get swept in 4, all good.
Do we want Columbus to be in the playoffs?
The reason I do is the Johnny Gaudreau in that year.
That's fair.
It would be an amazing moment. I think that first game back would be just as almost I would say as epic as a Bell Center game type thing, just because of the emotion that would go behind it.
Yeah. And then they get their asses kicked.
Yeah. Then the rest of the series doesn't matter.
That's true.
Emotions.
So that'd be game 3. I think it would be just a very emotional series, just for, big player, passing this past season, and
Yeah, I from that standpoint, I do agree with you.
The driver, I think yesterday, the day before, it was thrown out. His trying to blame the victims. He was using that argument, and it got thrown out.
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
So that would be
Gross.
why I think the Columbus story would be big.
It'd be
Montreal in the
better
playoffs.
storyline.
And game 3 would just be pretty epic.
Yeah.
Now, games 3 and 4 in Montreal.
Bell Center. That place would be so loud. If it was like 1-1 coming back.
That's the Gwen Stefani song.
Oh.
Bleep is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Now, bleep is bananas. P-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. What's the matchup are you looking forward to most? And before we get there, this is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts. More than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider by Canadian. Sentinel.ca to find a convenient location nearest you. And there is a convenient location nearest you. They're all over the place.
They are.
Which store? Which series?
Battle of Ontario.
Ooh.
And then the Rantanen Bowl.
Really? I want to see Battle of Florida. I think it's going to get nasty.
Then I would go Florida.
That's going to be a good one.
And then Edmonton Kings.
That'd be 4.
That's 4 for me.
You?
Well, I mean, outside of Oilers, Kings, obviously.
But where would you rank Oilers Kings in intrigue?
Oh, where am I going to rank it? In
intrigue.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
that's
obviously,
different.
the city, the people are going to be in, but would this be the most intriguing series to people? I think some Oiler fans
in general, not just Oilers, just people in general, right?
across the board.
Yeah.
For you personally.
Okay, well,
It might be Oilers Kings for you.
I mean, I have to obviously be heavily invested in it, so that kind of gets de facto number 1. But the ones outside of this series that I 100% will be glued to is Battle of Florida, because I do think Tampa is a quiet beast that people have been sleeping on. Battle of Ontario is a good one, and Dallas, Colorado, because I think that's going to be a great series. St. Louis, Winnipeg, and I don't know why, but anytime both of those teams are involved in playoffs, I don't really care. Winnipeg is a great team. They had a phenomenal season, but they're always it's kind of like Ottawa in a way to me too. It's just like, oh yeah.
You don't love them, but you don't hate them.
Yeah, they're just there. So it's like, okay, sure.
But
the Blues,
it's cute type
yeah,
thing.
that's nice. Yeah, oh, that's nice. And the Blues, I know with all
It's not wrong.
Seriously,
It's not at all.
It's when those two teams,
It's
and
just-
Ottawa goes on runs over the years. You go, oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
that's so
lovely.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Feel good.
You know what? You know what might be a really fast, skilled series is New Jersey, Carolina.
That to me is like the Snore Bowl.
It might be as well. Like that one could go either way. So
Could care less. Didn't even know they played.
you could or you couldn't.
I couldn't care less.
Okay, there we go.
I don't. My TV will never watch that.
But
game.
the other one
And
is Vegas, Minnesota might be worse. To me.
Just like
Yeah.
woof.
Yeah. But I like watching. See, that the flip of St. Louis and Winnipeg to me is Vegas, and I'm always intrigued by the Golden Knights. I don't know why. Since their inception into the league, there's something compelling about them, to me at least. And I know that might be a pre-scout for round 2 as well. So that one is one I would keep an eye on. But I'm just saying with Carolina and New Jersey, even though you're right, Belsey, like those are two teams like around here, you're like, they're playing again. Okay, whatever. That could be a fast, skilled series just with the players involved.
Do you think that like Jersey still has that stigma from like 90s? Like that's the way they play?
I think so. Like league wide, sure.
Yeah.
Like hockey.
Like,
fans.
I used to love watching them play in those times.
Well,
But that's because I like their
liked it
players.
because
I like
Scott
Martin Brodeur.
Stevens.
I like Scott.
Okay,
I like
okay.
Scott Niedermayer.
Stevens was looking to put your head into orbit
he
every
did put
shift.
people's heads into orbit.
Marty Brodeur was unbelievable, but they still played a specific style that was boring hockey.
Yeah.
Sure,
So like,
but
when
I
you
like
think about Jersey,
goaltending. And I liked watching Martin Brodeur and
Yeah,
seeing
he's
what's
nasty.
he going to do
He was
again.
nasty. But like right now, like they're skilled, but I don't want to put money on it, but I do think that a large portion of people are like, Jersey, meh.
Yeah, and
They're
that's 100%
It's also
fair.
the markets.
Yeah.
The Devils are not a sexy market for
they're
hockey.
awful
Carolina has a great fan base,
And it ends
but it's
there.
but it's not a sexy market.
Yeah. Nobody
know-
in Hartford is going, I'm cheering for the Canes.
Yeah, it's
Let's
just
go.
Even though they wear jerseys.
Yeah.
No, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, Ottawa's Toronto's a fun one because also I think Ottawa had the season series against
They
Toronto this year, which
did.
adds to that
Yep.
quite a bit. So I would just love, and I've been cheering for Toronto to win the division for a few weeks here because I want them to lose to Ottawa, which I think would be amazing.
That would be phenomenal.
I also love the idea though if they do win, here's Tampa or Florida. Like it's. I think if you're
Welcome
cheering
to
against
your
the Toronto Maple
doom.
Leafs,
Yeah.
I also do wonder is there any way that the Leafs might actually be for real this year?
No.
Why
they're
not?
Because
like
Tampa and
Winnipeg.
Florida are too good.
Mm. The other thing is that I will say against the Toronto Maple Leafs, like the Oilers, you get to the playoffs, Connor, Leon, they generally step up. You cannot say that about the Stars of the Toronto Maple
That
Leafs.
is
They
correct.
usually go the
Except
opposite
for
way.
Marner.
Marner's terrible.
Ever
in the
since
playoffs.
Marner played in the Four Nations face-off,
Oh, you don't
I
know?
think
He's a TBD.
He's a TBD now.
He's a TBD, bro.
because I think the level was very heightened, and I think he actually was pretty good in that game.
The
What
only
about
reason I
Matthews?
will give you something too is he's a pending UFA.
I know,
And
he's
if he
gonna
has a
come play with
great-
Connor,
If he has a
Stop
if he has a great playoffs,
buddy.
quiet.
Could you imagine how nice he'd be on that line? With
It would be
Connor?
lovely, but it's not going to happen.
I would just love the
Well,
idea
apparently
of
they
Mitch
could have made.
Rantanen.
Yeah,
That's-
Rocco Nick sent the whole list of how it could be done.
I know. That
Marner,
was a
top
long
5
list of things
in
that needed
points.
to happen.
I just want him to have this great season. I want him to you want to be great. Marner wins a overtime goal to send the Leafs to the second round. Has an amazing
I
second.
love
round.
how you're
They
about to
fall.
say Stanley Cup. And
No,
then
I was
you
going to
came
go
all
conference
the way
final.
back down.
I was going to go conference final. I'm not going to go past conference final.
Okay,
But in the end, he walks.
yeah.
And
You
they
are
don't replace
devious.
him.
Yeah.
And next year they take this massive out because
Yeah.
the guy that steps up in the playoffs was Marner.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the support from the rest of the team. That fan base has been really hard on Marner for a few years. And in the end, off to Utah he goes.
I love how it's Utah.
Man,
I want bad things for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I agree.
Like
That's the one team that I'm just like, I can't get behind. But then I started watching these like old school clips and like the Leafs back in the day, they had some snarl.
Like
when
Nikolai
when
Borshevsky.
like Tucker,
Oh, yeah.
when he was in the lineup, like that guy was a menace on the ice. They had Domi at the same time. He was a menace on the ice because you never knew what was going to happen with him.
it's not the team I have a problem with.
Was awesome.
It's not even the fan base I have that much of a problem with.
It's the circus behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't need, like, I know the TV networks, they hold their money and they focus everything on the Toronto Maple Leafs and everyone's next.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want success for that because of how bad we're going to have to deal with
Oh my God.
whatever that is. And that's the only reason. It's if the TV
I couldn't
market,
imagine how bad it would be.
If Sportsnet and TSN weren't where and to a degree I understand why they put a lot into the Leafs. That's where the clicks are. That's where the majority of the we see what happens when the Leafs roll through town. But at the same time, you don't have to do it as bad as you do. If it wasn't for that, I'd be okay with them.
It's the center of the universe, Matty.
I can handle them going on a nice run. I can, the Leafs fans, it's been a long time. Like, maybe I don't want you to win the cup, but have a nice run.
Sure.
I don't want them to lose. I want pure heartbreak. Again, and that's why that's why I go with it's if they could lose to the Sens, how great would that be? This team has missed the playoffs for how many years? You meet them after winning the division and you lose to your provincial rival. Or Marner has this great playoffs and he walks on you. Like, that's the stuff I want.
We just
man, that is just
if Brundon's kicking around, that's the clip right there for the teaser for the rest of the day. I don't want the Leafs to lose. I want heartbreak.
somebody clip that, please.
Yeah. Sorry, Jake Bolton-Moss. Sorry, Pat Gregoire. But I'm also not.
You are hilarious. Jay texts in says, I've already forgotten New Jersey and Carolina are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well said, Jay.
Yeah.
Well said.
Nobody cares about that one.
Oh, man. Also Collingwood.
Imagine if Washington plays one of them in the next. That's another series. And if you go to the next, I think that's right off everyone's bottom right off the bat.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Collingwood Rob texts in says the code for nasties meeting in public should be a thumbs up sign and then say thumb thumb thumb. Click click.
Oh my God.
Like Reed Wilkins. Oh, Reed.
You did that well. You had a nice impression there. I'll give you that.
When he plays that clip, I laugh. Even he knows it's good, but he's reluctant to play it as much. And then Jay will just play it, and I think that's hilarious.
Oh, when I filled in, I had to play it all the time.
Oh, it's so good. He is a very, very talented guy, that Reed Wilkins.
I would love to tell you what was coming up in the NHL playoffs on Saturday, but we don't know anything.
We don't know.
So why would you do that?
Can I also announce something for pre and post game?
Sure.
I think we got the green light on this. We will also be back at Hudson's for away games. So BP's and Hudson's for away home games. We're at the Ice House.
Yeah, first round of the playoffs. Game 1, BP's Westgate 170th.
Yep.
Game 2, Hudson's. I don't know which one.
We're going to be rotating between the two.
I don't know which one it was.
Yeah.
Game 3, Game 4, Ice House.
Yeah.
Rogers Place. Game 5, or Roger in the Ice District. Game 5 will be Hudson's. Game 6 will be Ice House.
Yeah.
Game 7, TBD, brah.
TBD,
Can
brah.
we just not have fights amongst Oiler fans
That would be lovely.
In the Moss Pit?
Yeah.
I was fine last year at a certain point. They did. I think it started. They've actually, I feel like, really improved, especially as that playoffs went on and controlled things pretty well.
It always comes out hot though. People are like they're
Maniacs.
pent up. They're just like it's playoff time, and there's tilts everywhere. This is actually how Yeg Wave got its name. They got their
which is a
they got
Russian
their-
controlled
Oh, I'd
they got
say
their
that's from
credibility
Russia.
based off of what happened.
It should have zero credibility.
I will never
I
follow
agree.
them.
Yeah.
I will stand with that. But they posted the video from inside the plane that Quinn Hudson was on. I mean, there's a video of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty
Crazy.
Well, it's a little like if I was on the plane, like there's a lot of like panic, like your kids, Mom, I'm scared and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I can see why. Like I can see why. And then a lot of comments are like, well, planes are designed to, you could lose an engine and you are fine. But there's also like that'd be terrifying, especially how many planes have gone down over the last few months.
Which is Anyway.
Game 2, West Edmonton Mall. Game 5, White, says Jay.
Nice.
He just text me. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Also, Raider Jesse evidently does not like the bookbinder at all.
No?
He is one of like 3 people.
What does he say?
He says he cringes when he hears it.
Oh.
That's too bad, Raider Jesse. Tell me more about how good Bouchard is and how he doesn't give away the puck and how insignificant
my God, Tom.
those giveaways are.
Boy.
Well, Raider Jesse's the one that throws all these stats that are like Come on. Even you can admit it. They're terrible, egregious giveaways that lead directly to goals against.
Tell me how
Brent,
you really feel.
I just did.
Holy.
I love Bookbinder.
Oh,
I do not cringe when I hear it. I do like Raider Jesse, though. He creates good conversation.
Here's a good conversation. Or do you got to do a quick read?
No, I was gonna say something else, but
okay, go ahead.
Well, you sent me a text.
Oh, we can get into that after.
Okay.
Is it Diddy stuff? You're into Diddy stuff.
Oh, geez, you gotta put some like context behind that.
Oh, like,
like
he is
legitimate context.
He doesn't like what Diddy did.
Holy man.
He's just very.
You can't just throw that out. You're like, you like Diddy stuff. Dude, that is a line that you cannot cross. You got to put some legit context behind that because that man did some weird stuff.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
No, thank you for clarifying now.
Shawn is very much enthralled by everything that is transpiring with Diddy. And he'll send information and bits of news in regard to Diddy. So he doesn't necessarily like Diddy stuff, but he is very much captured by the Diddy story. Did I explain that better?
I think just stop now.
Yeah, like you just dug a massive hole there.
No, I didn't. I dug my way out.
So what I find interesting is how crazy that person was. So I've gone
Which
down
person?
Diddy. So I've gone down the
Is this
rabbit
what you
hole.
wanted to
No,
get to?
it's not. But now I have to talk about it.
No, you don't.
Because like, see the nasty chat's going off. You like Diddy stuff. Oh, yeah.
Not the best choice of words.
Shawn Baby
Calvin
Oil
C.
Bell right there. See, this is why you had to give context.
Yeah, Big U. Noel's getting deeper, Tommy. Stop digging.
Oh my God.
I said we just move on
Oh, okay. Well,
No.
to whatever you wanted to say.
Well, he's sending you secret texts, and he
don't
said,
mention holes in Diddy.
No, what did you want to say, Melzy?
All right, moving on.
What I was gonna say is like, do we like how the NHL now, when there's players that are retiring, they always do the handshakes? Is this something just it's brand new that they have decided to unveil, and it's to give obviously that respect to that player, but it's happening now across the board. So Fleury's had it. Now Matt Martin's getting it.
Patty Maroon, Alec
Martinez. So when guys are now retiring or they're announcing their retirement, they are now getting the handshakes from all the teams that they're playing against as a
The Matt Martin one is a bit of a stretch. Even Patty Maroon and Alec Martinez, and I love Pat Maroon. Like, I think he's a great human being. To me, he's gold. He's top notch. But I think for like the guys that are going to be surefire Hall of Famers, like
Fleury.
Like a Fleury. Who else is called it a career recently that they're anyway, like in that, I'll just use that instance. Ryan Smith, they did it for. Now he's not a Hall of Famer, but I think guys of significance for a prolonged period of time, it's cool. But
so then when
Matt
did this,
Martin, I'd be like,
when did this
why?
become a thing?
I don't know.
But it's
not
a thing.
brand new. It's just we've seen more of it this year.
Has it ever happened outside of, let's say, 3 years ago?
The Canucks did it for Ryan Smith.
Did they?
Yeah.
But that was just one singular team that did it?
Just in his last game.
I think it's got to be
last game is different, but like it's been every single time you play a team, that team is now shaking your hand. So I understand the significance
what other
of
ones
the
have
last
happened?
game.
Like,
I think it's just last game. When you know it's their last game of their career, you can maybe get away with it. Wouldn't want it many games. I think it would have to be reserved for the best of the best. Sidney Crosby one day will announce I'm retiring. I don't know if he'll do it at the start of the season. I don't know if he'll do it at the end of the season when he does. But if there is a game where if he announces it in May or March, I should say,
yeah,
and there's a few games, I think he'd get that. I think it's reserved for the best of the best.
That's what I thought too. And trust me, I think it's kind of a cool gesture that people are acknowledging that these guys have been in the league for a long time and they're now obviously retiring and they're doing their thing and they're giving their flowers to those players. But I was just like, when did this start becoming like a thing?
We've seen more of it this year. Like, I don't remember anything last year.
It became a point though. Everyone like was coming to Edmonton was getting a video, and they've cut that back.
Well, since Jackson took over, there's none of that.
You play one season with the Oilers, and you got a video coming back. Like,
why are you still mad about Mark Arcobello getting a video?
Did he get a video?
He certainly did.
Oh,
He did?
jeez.
Yeah. Your old teammate.
It's
I was part of a video.
Oh yeah, you were the other night. I saw that.
It's
That's
just one of
nice.
those. I think those are special honors because then it's like, well, then everyone should get it. Any player that's retiring, they all should get it.
Yeah,
They've
and
played over like
that's
300 NHL games.
That's kind of why I was
I don't
like,
know.
well, very interesting. But
Go shake hands.
after the game,
Yeah, go behind and go shake his hand or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with Raider Jesse on this one. So I said I disagreed with one. I agree with one here. I think handshakes should be reserved for long careers, maybe not Hall of Fame, but Hall of Very Good. The Ryan Smith types. Yeah, I agree with Ryan.
Well, Ryan
Raider
Smith too.
Jesse on
It's
that.
also that was big for the franchise type thing.
Yeah.
I could see that big moment if you're the opponent and you're going up against a longtime player of that franchise and they're having a special night for him that maybe isn't as across the board from the NHL. I can understand why you would do that.
Yep.
Like Pat Maroon isn't a longtime Chicago Blackhawk.
no. And Pat Maroon is hey, he's had a great career.
Three-time
But
Stanley Cup
when
champ.
you look at the significance of his career, it's not to the same level of like a Ryan Smith.
Correct. Now, Pat, if that game was in St. Louis and the Blues, former teammates, won a cup with him,
Yeah.
it's his hometown, they give him the handshake. Yeah, 100%. But like Alec Martinez, like where does that fall in the whole grand scheme of things?
Matt Martin was the one that was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That one surprised me because I don't recall him playing a ton the last couple of years. I know he's been banged up and stuff too.
The official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink legend in 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada, where you can enter your postal code and find a liquor store establishment nearest you with the long drink. You text me something from Legion Hoops. Haslam on Luka Doncic, quote, I'm looking at the teams ahead of you. There's nowhere to hide. They're going to put your bleep in action. He's going to have to guard. You have to effing guard. Okay.
So I listened to the video. And so basically what he was referencing is that, people have the Lakers being one of the top teams coming forward.
Yeah.
But what we've also seen is that while Luka can be a difference maker on one end of the court, he can be a guy that teams go after on the other side of the court. And he was looking at it and he's like, okay, well, the teams that are above the Lakers, if at any point you end up playing one of those three teams, he mentioned three teams. He's like, well, who are you going to hide Luka against? Because that is going to be an area that teams are going to try to attack because his defense is not very good. Now, offensively, you can't argue with that guy. But defensively, you looked at it last year, the Celtics, they attacked Luka all the time because they knew that was one of the spots that they could actually get buckets. So that's what he was going after. And they're saying, okay, well, like, you play against Oklahoma, there's multiple players that, you can potentially limit his offense. I don't think you're taking away his offense because he's way too good of a player to take him away from the offensive side. But they're going to challenge you and they're going to go after you from a defensive front. And maybe that's a way and an avenue to beat the Lakers.
Sure, but you're talking about OKC here.
He talked about OKC, he talked about Denver, and he talked about Houston.
The Lakers, I'm not worried about as much Houston or Denver. Like part of the Mavs team last year, they weren't that good. Like the supporting cast. Was Kyrie there or did he get hurt?
Kyrie was there.
I thought he was hurt. No, he was playing in I thought he got hurt during some of the playoffs because I don't think he was there in the NBA Finals. Was he?
I don't remember.
I'd have to try to look that up because I didn't. Because it felt like it was just Doncic carried the Mavs to the NBA Finals. Now, I'll have to pull up the NBA Finals, and maybe I'm just missing Kyrie, but I thought he got banged up at one point.
He very well could.
But okay, like, I'm not... OKC's the team I'm worried about. The Lakers, they have LeBron still. They have Austin Reeves still. they have a very good, talented team that I think is better than the team he had with the Mavs last year. That it's not just about Luka Doncic. So, like, the Nuggets are a mess right now. They just fired their coach.
True.
The Houston Rockets are kind of new to this scene. They're not used to the playoffs. LeBron James and Luka Doncic know what it takes to win in the playoffs. OKC's the big challenge one.
Okay, so to continue to that, there was another video that I saw where they were talking about Doncic, and they're like, does he actually know how to win? Because they were taking it from the Mavericks side standpoint.
No, Kyrie was there the whole time. So,
and they're like, well, they obviously he carried them from the offensive side. He's like, but he doesn't know how to win because he didn't win the big one. So they talked about that. And so has he ever won a ring?
Well, you can't. Has anyone on OKC, like, has SGA won a ring?
I'm not even trying to get into an argument. I'm just saying.
Well, that's a terrible argument from them, though, because
it was a very interesting. It was just interesting commentary, but then that one led to this particular one.
Because LeBron's won a ring, though. Like that's if you want to go
so
with
then
that.
You can say LeBron knows how to win.
Yeah, he knows how to win. So like Luka doesn't have to be the guy that knows how to win. LeBron knows how to win. LeBron will go get it done then. Like that's the thing is that like there's these two great players.
Is Bron the best teammate? Does Bron really give a blank whether Lucic or Doncic? Sorry, I was watching this hockey video on Tommy's and I'm just like a Lucic popped in my head.
Andrew Peters sending the Toronto Maple Leafs to the golf course. Yeah. That's the video.
But like, does he really care if he knows how to win? Is he going to teach him how to win? Is he going to teach him and tell him all the different things to be like, hey, this is how you get over the hump?
You could just follow LeBron. Like on the game, though, in the game, it's LeBron that could lead. LeBron could be the number one and Luka could be behind him. And so it's like, oh, Luka's never won a ring. Well, also, how old is Luka? Like at some point, a lot of players haven't won a ring until they get that ring. LeBron's done it though. Like it's one of those things. You just rip on the Lakers because they're the Lakers. You know, those things would be said.
I don't know if it was a context of the Lakers versus anyone else.
You can't tell me this Houston Rockets team is loaded with wins and rings that, oh no, how is...
Well, Fred VanVleet's won, so you can use that exact same argument.
Well,
he knows how to win,
so
now he'll teach his guys.
Well, but he's the one guy, but like it's...
So the argument wasn't necessarily towards the Lakers. Well, it was more against Doncic and whether he would be good enough on the defensive end to help propel the Lakers to victory. And from the other side,
player, who's the guy leading the Houston Rockets?
Well, probably Van Vliet, but they've got a lot of
he's
young.
Their top player,
but he's their leader. So you said who's leading?
LeBron's the leader of the Lakers. It's not Luka.
They both won.
Yeah, but
that's your argument.
But this argument is against Luka here and saying, well, the Lakers, Luka hasn't won.
He's never won.
Minnesota, I'm not worried about. Houston will be a tough series. Might also be Golden State. Not as worried about them. Mm-hmm. They don't have to face the Denver Nuggets because the Nuggets. It's either going to be Denver or OKC.
They're going to end up losing to somebody.
So it's going to be OKC. Now it's a series. Now OKC is the favorite. And yeah, OKC deserves to be the favorite, and they will have their challenges against OKC. No question about that. Houston, I'm sorry, LeBron. I'll take LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves over that Houston Rockets roster that doesn't have that full playoff experience, I would say. They do got Steven Adams. They got Dylan Brooks. Dylan is so focused on LeBron, he cost the Grizzlies that one series.
Brooks is he's more concerned about Luka than anybody. He goes after Luka every single time, which probably just amps up Luka even more. Because Luka's a competitor and he likes that kind of stuff.
The thing is, in the end, is if Luka's not going, the Lakers have LeBron. If LeBron's not going, the Lakers got Luka. And in the end, they also still have Austin Reeves going as well. Yes, OKC is the favorite of the West. They should be. They're still going to lose 2 games to the Lakers.
I've been waiting for that one.
But Houston, that is a tough series. I think the Lakers would be the favorite going into that series.
I won't even argue that. But once again, this is more about Doncic and can he play D and can he be good enough on that side of the ball to help propel them to victory? Not about whether the Lakers are the favorites or not. Purely about Luka.
So can he help propel them to victory? 100%.
Well-
he took a team to an NBA Finals.
Okay.
With Kyrie Irving, and he was the number 1 guy. Now he would be the number 2 guy, and the guy ahead of him is LeBron freaking James.
But the Celtics also exposed him on the defensive side of the ball. So now every team's a copycat. They say, well, how do I win games against teams like the LA Lakers that have these 2 superstars? Well, now we have to go after Luka, and we have to go after, and that's his weakness. We're going after him. That's what people do. That's what teams do. They exploit that stuff. So if the Celtics have a blueprint on how to beat the Mavs and how to beat Luka, well, then guess what teams are going to do? They're going after him. They're going to make him play on the defensive end. So why would you want the ball even to remotely be on the side against Luka?
LA Lakers
LeBron
at OKC, 126.99. Luka Doncic plus 18 in that game.
So you picked one, and it was the best one.
It's possible.
It's
Like,
the
but
best one. So even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
No,
Is that
it's
the
one of
argument
those
we're
that
going
like
with?
it's again, that's OKC. I'm more not worried about Houston and Denver. It's like it's the same thing. Like the Lakers, I'd have them in those series. Let's take a look at this one that they
I
lost.
genuinely have no idea. I am enthralled by your
OKC 136 over the Lakers 120. Luka plus 6.
That ain't plus 18.
But it's when he's on the court, the Lakers have more points than they lost.
I realize
that's
what we're talking about
but
here.
But that's the defense. Like he's still plus 6 in a game that they lost by 16 against OKC. He's not in the minuses with that one. In fact, LeBron James in that one was minus 23. That's not good.
That's not good.
That's his number. He's minus 1. But Luka plus 19.
Can
Reeves
you say that number again?
Reeves was minus 19
Hold on.
in that game.
Can you say
minus
that again?
23, minus 19 for James and Reeves. All 5 starters in that game, 4 of them were in the minuses. Luka was the plus. So to say Luka is awful defensively, well, we'll see. We'll see. But in those 2 games recently against OKC, in a game both teams went with players. Luka was plus 18 and plus 6.
Okay, so then I'm just going to ask a quick question. One of those games, Brown was minus 23, and the other game, what was he?
So the game that they won, plus 7. Luka was plus 18.
Oof.
Reeves was plus 14.
No,
So if anything, LeBron is the more worried.
We just
of that
found the
series.
liability.
Well, it'd be more that way that like Luka, that's a recent.
Did we just agree on something?
That's recency.
Did we just agree on something?
I'm just saying that one.
Brown's a liability? Say
I'm
it.
saying fully he's not a liability. But if
Dusty
anything,
just
like
spit out his iced tea right now.
Yeah.
if you look at if you want to go after Luka and say, even this is how teams are going to beat the Lakers and stuff, is because Luka can't play defense. Well, 2 games against the best team in the NBA recently, where both teams put their starters out there. Luka plus 18, plus 6. Haslam, piss off. Piss off. We need to come up with terms for our bets, though. We got time. We've got 2 rounds to get there.
Oh,
But
that's great.
Warriors almost blew it yesterday a little bit. And
Yeah, I know
they had a
they
nice
did.
lead in that one. And they get
Are they fraudulent?
they get the Rockets. Well, they're a little banged up. Curry's a little banged up, and I think Butler's a little banged up. The thing I'll say about the Warriors is, I think in the last, they will have those games they'll win because they're hot come from the 3-point.
Yeah.
They will get cold though in games.
And they know how to win.
Which one is going to be more? Is it going to be more of the hot games or cold games when it comes to the 3-point? When they take on the Rockets, like can they hit enough threes in enough games to beat the Houston Rockets? Like, yes, I don't know if you saw the stat line yesterday for the Warriors.
I didn't know.
It was a 2-man show. Like no one else stepped up in that game. A game where you can go to, you could just lock your spot in the playoffs. The 2 guys you'd expect. Yesterday, 121, 116, Golden State wins. Steph 37, Butler 38, Green 4 points, Moody 9 points, Budziemski 3
I could
points,
see them getting
Looney
hot,
2,
though.
Santos 3, Post 11, Healed 2, Peyton's the second 12. It was Butler.
That healed one's bad though. Like he shouldn't be a guy that's putting up 2.
He played 12 minutes. He was 1 for 4. Like Butler and Curry carried them to that.
Yeah.
And is there enough support from everyone else? Like that was a
There
good
should be
game.
though. Like that's the problem with that team is that there should be enough. Having Butler and Curry, you got a guy that, Butler's he's a superstar. slash and drive the lane. He can hit threes. He can kind of do everything. But then you have Curry, who, if he gets hot, like, look out. Anyway.
Buster Tien. Yeah, NBA, boring. Just threes and layups.
We need to get off
It's
the
not
NBA
fully.
talk so we can bring Tommy back.
No. I watched this thing on Instagram. Did you see the guy? I think it was in the Japanese league. And his jump shot, did you see this?
Oh, I did see that. But he nailed that shot too.
Where he jumps first, then throws it. Did you see this guy?
No.
It's unbelievable. Like he will
I feel like that's bad for a good
It's
defender.
one of
jumps
the
and then
Like a
throws
bad
it.
defender is going to knock that, or a good defender is just going to knock that ball better. Like if he was in the pros.
That's one of the worst shooting motions I've ever seen. But man, did he drill that thing.
Like you're coming up and the defender says, boop.
The claw would just take it right out of your hand.
Anyway, I can't remember. I saw it the other day and then I had to pull it up.
I need to do an NBA draft sim again. I did a little bit yesterday. How crazy would it be if the Raptors with their 7-point-some% can jump up and get Cooper Flag?
If the Raptors could?
Yeah, New Orleans 1, Toronto Raptors 2 in my draft sim that I just did.
I hope they get a player like that. Because that would put him over the edge.
Oh, Max Bezozus. After the Luka trade, Lakers are second in defense and improved 7 points DRTG. Defensive rebounds?
Yeah.
No. DRTG. I don't know what DRTG is.
It sounds like a defensive rebounds.
What would TG stand for?
No idea.
NBA meaning. DRTG, defensive rating. It's a stat that measures how many points a team allows per 100 possessions. One of those stats. But the Lakers,
Corsi.
but they're second in defense since that trade. So
well.
Moody, or not Moody. Who was that?
Haslam.
Haslam?
Yep.
Go away.
Udonis Haslam.
Go away.
Yep.
I look forward to Saturday.
Corsi.
Yeah, you say no more.
Lakers, Timberwolves. Although the Timberwolves
No
will
thanks.
cause a little bit of a fit for the Lakers.
Edwards. New face of the league. Wants to be the face of the league.
How do these guys in the NBA like just make these claims and these statements?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Part of it is it's just a pure confidence, and you try and I kind of would want my players if I was a fan of a team, I want them to be a little
And they
to
know
lunch on that.
It's calculated.
I don't know
too,
if they
right?
know it. I think they believe it.
You think they believe it?
I remember a few years ago at the time, James Harden was like, "I'm the best player in the NBA," and this was the time when Curry was going off and stuff. And you're like, "Nah, you're not." Like, there's a couple of others, but he sits there and he goes, "I'm the best," and I think he believed it.
Yeah.
I'm better than anyone else. I can go one-on-one with anyone, and I will beat them.
Doesn't Durant, isn't he kind of the same way too? Like,
There was a case though for Durant for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy was really good.
I think when it comes to basketball, where one player could really take over a game and carry a team far, it's the MJ. Took it, I took it personally. That type of stuff. That I do actually think, though, some of them truly believe that.
Yep.
That they sit there and go, "No, I am better than these guys," and that's how they go on the court and they can go beat them. So Ant-Man he's really good.
Yeah,
he's
is.
unbelievable. I think he sits there and he thinks, "Yeah, I'm the face. I could be the face. I should be the face." Type thing. And he actually believes that inside
There's
of
been
him.
interesting conversations around who should be the face of the NBA, and I don't know why I get so many of these things on my Twitter, but
Could you keep reading?
there probably. But there was another conversation where it's like, there's lots of guys in the league that are superstars, and actually Luka, I think, might have been part of Luka, but it was like, well, Luka is European, and they'll never allow a European to be the face of the NBA.
And the problem is that there's been an influx of a lot of great European talent in the league, and the best players might be European. Actually, European/Canadian.
Yeah.
I got to throw SG in there right now.
And so they're like, well, now there's really no face of the league, and they're still trying to keep Braun in there. Well, they're like, there should be a new face of the league.
Where's Giannis now?
He's up there.
He's
Yeah.
up there, but he won't be the face of the league because he's not.
Greek.
He's
He's for this foreign.
Yeah.
It needs to be an American. Cooper Flag could maybe be that next guy type thing. I guess not Tatum or Brown in Boston. Steph is older, so can't go with him. KD's older, can't go with him. Kawhi, Harden, they're older, can't go with them. Ant-Man would probably be
The next guy
the
up.
guy.
Yep.
Partly, though, to be a face of this league, I think you also have to play in the bigger markets. That is what the NBA is the markets.
Yep.
And Minnesota...
Not a big market.
Well, and the history of the Timberwolves, not exactly that great.
Yep.
And that also, I think, hurts Giannis, is that he plays in Milwaukee.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
So maybe they're going to hope that Cooper Flagg becomes that guy. Can he be that guy? I don't know.
But if he goes to the Raptors, good luck.
He won't be that guy.
So there we go.
I guess, I think the closest we've seen, and it is a foreigner, was Jokic with Denver.
Yeah, but even...
Because he's got a fun personality. He looks like he doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, maybe it needs just LeBron needs to go. Maybe you can never have someone there while the LeBron is in the league. That everyone's just going to always want to talk about LeBron. And that's why there's no room to allow a new face of the league, because in the end, people are going to defer to talking about LeBron. So once he retires, it opens up the door for people to finally pick, okay, who is the new face of this NBA?
Very fair.
We haven't heard from Dusty on any of that Lakers
Tommy,
stuff,
what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I enjoyed that very much.
People want to talk about Matty's shorts.
We only have a few minutes left.
Actually, I had something else I wanted to come up.
Go ahead.
Did you see the Colorado Buffaloes are retiring the jerseys of Saunders and Hunter?
That's gross.
What? How? They have like 100 players on their roster.
It wasn't even that great, like, of records.
No.
Like, what did Saunders
That's
do?
a bit ridiculous.
What's his college Buffalo career look like?
That's gross. I'm sorry.
I fully agree. College career, what did he do at Colorado? He was 4-7, 9-4.
Did they win any bowls?
27-3 TD interception ratio the first season, 37-10 last season. Did he go win bowls? I don't think. He led to the records in an appearance in the Alamo Bowl. By saying appearance, I'm assuming that's a loss. The Alamo Bowl was a loss to the BYU Cougars. So, like, I didn't even think, like, historically, he's even the best player to, like, quarterback to ever play at Colorado, and they're not retired. Like, I think I got to double check this. Where is this guy? I think Cordell Stewart might be, like, one of their best quarterbacks in college.
Cordell Stewart.
In college. But he never got any sort of, like, he's not retired or something like that. In college, they're not giving me wins, losses. He was 33-11 for TD's interceptions. I think some Buffalo fans would go, he was a really good quarterback for the Buffaloes. He's not retired. Yeah, they're just, though, immediately retiring Saunders and
yeah, that's bad.
Hunter. And then Hunter has said he would rather quit football than not be allowed to play both sides of the ball. Going to the NFL.
What? Just take the money, play the one side, try to make it a long career where you don't come out of it banged up. Worse than
Why
you
not
need to
play
be.
both sides?
It's the NFL. It's a different animal.
Absolutely. But, and now going from Japanese baseball to MLB is a lot smaller of a jump than college to the NFL, I would maybe argue. But Ohtani's doing it.
We're talking about baseball.
That's a very different situation.
I think if I'm a team, I'll take him and I'll give him a shot. I'll give it a few games. And if it's not going well, then you can sit him down and be like, look, it's not going, but save a little bit of cap space.
You see, but okay, so if you're Ohtani and you're in practice, you have batting practice.
This is a fair point.
I go bat. Then I go do my pitches. I have the opportunity to go do both.
But how did he do in college?
But in football,
he did in college. So he knew how to, he figured they made it work with the coaches there.
Yeah, but you're not playing in the best league in the world against the best athletes in the world.
paying
sorry.
in the best league in the world with the best athletes in the world of your age.
You can get away with it in college.
You know what? Sure, of their age, but in college, DVD makes this statement, and I agree with him. In college football, you have 5 really exceptional players on the good teams, and then you have about 50 guys that are okay, and some of them are downright bad because they're literally out of high school. There's such a discrepancy. Whereas in the NFL, these are the best of the best. Oh, by the way, there's guys on the practice roster on all 32 teams ready and itching to die and get their way onto the roster. Oh, by the way, there's a league in Canada, and there's this new the UFL, United Football League, with what do they have, 8 teams or whatever. There's hundreds of guys trying to make the NFL, whereas in NCAA, it's like you have high school kids, meddling student athletes, and then you've got like 5 exceptional players on the really good teams. That's basically what an NCAA roster is in football.
So you can get away with it.
You get away with it.
But when you're in the NFL and you have your practice and you're just like, okay, well, it's position meetings, you better show up to that position meeting. Your DB meetings, got to be there.
Yeah.
Wide receiver meetings, got to be there. If they're at the same time, what do you prioritize?
Whatever you're struggling at more at the moment.
So then, okay, so what basically happens then is you don't become the star receiver and you don't become the star DB. You become either a star-ish DB and a third receiver, or you become that guy and then maybe a nickel.
You become a star DB and a good third receiver. It's pretty good.
But I don't think he wants that. I think the point of him doing it is because he's like, well, I was the best receiver with the Buffs and I was the best DB on the Buffs. So a guy saying that is not like, oh, I want my cake and eat it too. No, he wants his flowers. He wants to be the best DB and the best receiver on the team. That's tough to do.
Speaking of DBs, where's Jalen Ramsey going?
Oh, don't talk about this.
And that's how we'll end the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Lock Shop, Oil Stream coming up from Clairview BP's. Dusty says the lounge is great. Come on down. He'll buy you a drink, he said on Twitter. So head on down. Tommy's headed down there.
Yes.
1 to 3 EST afternoons. Myself and Joaquin Gage. We got Michael Tracos from the Hockey News to help talk some NHL, just playoff picture, look at it. And Hernan's World, as I will replace Hernan today. And 3 and 6, we've got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. 7:30 GCL Diesel Ulstrom pregame show. Tommy will get you set for the end of the Edmonton Oilers regular season. On behalf of Bellsy, Tommy, I am Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. As I said, Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Look at this. Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First time guest, long time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.